All right, today we are diving into a really big idea, society. What if it's not just a random bunch of people living together? What if it's actually a single living system? We're going to explore the hidden price this system pays for stability and a possible path to making it whole.
So let's just start with this fundamental question, right? When you look around, is what you see just a chaotic collection of individuals, or is it something more? Is it a system that has its own logic, its own rules, almost like a huge, complex organism?
That very question leads us right into our first section. We've got to build a foundation here and really understand this idea of society as a complex system.
So what even is a social system? Well, think of it like this intricate web where things like culture, the economy, and our laws aren't in their own separate boxes. They're all tangled up. For example, a new law, that's the legal system, could change who gets a loan from a bank. That's the economic system, which in turn could totally reshape family life. That's our cultural norms. See? They're all connected, each piece affecting the others to keep the whole thing running.
And what's the goal of this giant interconnected machine? Well, it's pretty simple actually. Just like your body works to keep a stable temperature, a society is constantly working to maintain a state of balance. The fancy term for this is homeostasis. You can literally think of it as a thermostat for an entire culture, always trying to get back to its default setting. You know, the status quo.
And here's where it gets really mind-blowing. This organizing principle, it might not be just some human invention. The source material we're looking at suggests that this is tapping into a fundamental law of nature itself. The idea that all complex systems, from a rainforest to a human society, just inherently try to organize themselves.
But, and this is a huge but, is all that stability a good thing? As we're about to see in this next section, keeping everything in balance, maintaining that homeostasis, well, it can come at a really steep price.
Okay, this is where it gets fascinating. We usually think of things like racism or sexism as individual moral failures, right? But if you look at it from a systems perspective, they're more than that. They can actually function as tools that the system itself uses to keep things stable. Think about it. Assigning specific, limited jobs to one group makes the whole labor market more predictable. It's a way the system maintains that familiar, even if it's deeply unjust, balance.
So how exactly does this work? Well, it all comes down to one word: predictability. By creating and enforcing these isms, the system can effectively pigeonhole entire groups of people. It gives them specific, often very limited roles and functions. And this makes the whole system's behavior easier to predict, easier to manage, and it powerfully reinforces the status quo.
And this right here, this slide just captures the central conflict perfectly. On one side, you have this rigid, predictable machine, the system, desperately trying to keep things exactly as they are. But on the other side, you have the fundamental nature of life itself. Life wants to grow, to evolve, to break through the cracks and reach for something more. These two forces, they're in a constant tug of war. So here's the bottom line. This drive to maintain the status quo is not some neutral, harmless thing. It has real, tangible consequences. And that brings us right to our third section, what it actually means to challenge that system.
So what are these hidden costs of stability? I mean, the most obvious and devastating cost is the harm done to the individuals who are put in a box and othered. But the damage is so much wider. By suppressing the potential of some of its own members, the system holds everyone back. It's like a tree trying to grow with half of its roots tied up in knots. It can never, ever reach its full height.
So yeah, pushing back against these deep, institutionalized biases, it's not easy. It creates friction. It disrupts that comfortable balance the system loves so much. But our source material is crystal clear on this point. Doing that hard work is absolutely essential if we want to nurture real, meaningful, positive change.
The source offers this really powerful way of framing it. Purification leads to progress. Now, just to be super clear, this isn't about purifying people. Not at all. It's about purifying the system of its own toxic limiting beliefs. That difficult, sometimes uncomfortable work, it's like cleaning out all the junk that's clogging a pipeline, which finally allows the entire society to flow towards healthier growth.
Okay, so we've looked at the problem, we've understood the incredible cost. But is there a way forward? Is there a solution? That is what our final section is all about, exploring a potential path toward wholeness.
The source proposes a solution it calls unity consciousness. Now, what on earth does that mean?
Well, it's a fundamental shift in how we see things. It's the ability to look at our incredibly diverse society and, instead of just seeing all the divisions, you start to see the underlying harmony. It's finally recognizing that a symphony is so much more than just the individual notes. Our society is way, way greater than the sum of its separated parts.
So how do we actually get there? The source lays out this really clear three-step path. Step 1, you have to see the limiting ism for what it is, a tool of the system, not some natural truth. Step 2, you have to actively challenge that belief by questioning the status quo and asking, what is this costing us? And finally, by doing that work, you can begin to experience that sense of wholeness and emerge from those limiting beliefs to finally see the bigger picture.
You know, when you boil it all down, this journey from division to unity is really all about integration. It's about taking all these separate, siloed parts of our society, all the different people, all the different groups, and connecting them, understanding how they fit into the wholeness of the entire system.
So we've seen society as a system, one that often pays a very high price for the comfort of stability. But a system is only made of its parts. It's made of us. Which really leaves just one final question, for me and for you. What part are you playing? Are you helping to reinforce the status quo? Or are you helping the entire system grow into something more?